Another road to GM. Come on, man. Y'all make it possible. You guys make it possible. Um, Man, before we start, like and subscribe. Man, comment down something nice. And yeah, let's jump into it. Today our opponent is Suns from man's from Ukraine? I don't know, bro. Or maybe he's from Russia. I think you gotta be from Russia if it's saying click here to see our stance on the war in Ukraine. So fuck it. Hey, fuck it. Let's ball. He's the white pieces, e4, e5, standard. He brings the knight, I bring the knight, and here he strikes in the center, and I'm sick of this, because if I take, he takes, I take, he takes, he has his queen and his pawn out, and I have no development, so I said, fuck it, let's ball. f5, I don't care. He develops his knight, and I go and pin his knight to his king. He takes, and now I take the full center, getting ready to win this back. He attacks my queen, I develop my knight. My elo's already down. I will never play this opening again because I'm just down. He takes, and now I'm like, okay, fuck it. He's up 2 pawns, but now I'm pinning the pawn to the queen. He goes and pins my knight to my king. I take that pawn. He takes my knight. I take back. Here he castles, and I'm like, okay. I'm still thinking that this pin stands. So here I castle. I'm like, all right, let's ball. And he takes my goddamn knight. So I take back, and now I'm like, okay, I gotta just swing my king over, bring my rook, and we're in game. But he doesn't let that happen. So I just bring my rook up. He goes and attacks my queen, and I just slide that bit to the side. I'm like, okay, I need to keep pressure on this side. This is where the king is. This is where mate threats are. He goes and attacks my bishop, and I'm like, bro, fuck, I'm already down a piece. I can't trade unless it's on my terms. So if he takes, I take. My thought process is I'll swing my rook over to the H file. I'll hit his bishop, and I'll also be threatening a mate if he moves his bishop. He brings his queen, and I push my pawn. Pushing my pawn does one of a couple things. One, it attacks the queen. It helps support my bishop under attack because before he had 1, 2 pieces eyeing it, and if he took, I take, he takes, and it's damn near going to be mate because the only move I can take here, but then he can take my rook, and it's just a bad position. So I find the move, push my pawn, and now he just creeps his queen up a little closer. I'm like, okay, what can I do? Fuck it, push P. When you don't know what to do, you got to push that pawn. So I push it, attacking his knight, and he goes and attacks my bishop. And the reason he didn't move his knight is because then I'd win his rook. And I'd be like, okay, I got a rook for 2 pieces, so I'm okay. But he does that. I take back. I take his knight with my pawn. He takes my bishop, and then I take that pawn. I'm like, okay, if he takes, I take, and I have threats. I have prospects. So that's what happens. He brings his rook to defend this pawn, and I'm like, all right, what can I do, bro? Like, all this over here is just jumbled up. I can't move any piece, otherwise it's just going to be bad. So I'm like, fuck it, you know what I got to do? Push P. Push my A pawn. He brings his rook down, and I'm like, okay. If he takes, I take. That's in game. But if I take, he'll take, and he'll get in with his queen, and I don't want that. So I'm like, fuck it. Push my pawn. And now he has mate in 12. But he don't see it. He takes, and now I take. I'm like, okay. I can't really see any obvious threats. I'm out of this pin, so if he takes, I can take. But he has 2 attackers on it. So he takes that pawn, and I'm like, all right. If I take back, he'll take, and then it's going to be mate in a little bit. So I just didn't want that. So I just bring my rook over. I keep this. This is threatening mate right here. I go check. He takes. That's mate. But he blocks it with his knight, drops it back, and now I'm like, all right, what do I do? Push my pawn, boy, push it. He gives me a check, and I'm like, okay, I can either go here, here, or here. If I can block, but then he just wins, and there's just no point. So I just slide my king back to g8. He gives me a check, forcing a queen trade. I'm like, fuck it, let's go. He takes, and now I'm like, push that pawn. His knight can't get to it. The only way is if he brings his rook. So he... you almost see my fault, y'all, bro. Bro, I hate this. The arrows be bugging. Alright, we got here. He defends, and now I bring my rook about behind it. I'm like, okay, he can't. He has a dark square bishop, so he can't target it. His knight's gonna take multiple moves to get to it. He's gonna have to like reroute, bow, bow, bow. He's gonna have to take 1, 2, 3 moves to get there. So I'm like, okay, I have time. So he goes and attacks my bishop, and I'm like, give me that pawn. Give me that pawn, boy. I'm like, okay, now I'm threatening to put this rook in jail. And he takes that pawn, and I'm like, okay, put the rook in jail. He doesn't have nothing. Now he's trying to get back. But here I swing my rook over. He can't move his knight because then it's mate. So what does he do? He defends it, but I'm like, all right, bro. Now I got the offensive. Now I'm pushing pressure. Push my pawn. I'm gonna win this knight because it's the same thing. If he moves it anywhere, that's mate. So here, he opens the door for back rank problems. So he doesn't have any back rank problems. I'm like, oh yeah, give me that knight, take it. He can't take with his bishop because I'll win a bishop, and then his rook's still in jail. So I'm gonna pick up all these pawns, and then I'm gonna promote. He brings his bishop down, and I push it. I'm like, let me get this bishop, this pawn off the dark squares. This bishop won't be able to target it. He brings his king, and now I cut off the king's walkway. He goes back, and I bring my rook down. I'm like, yeah, let's ride. Attacking the bishop. Let's go. And then if he were to go back, I think I'd push. Oh, wait, no, that wouldn't be right, because then he could take. Yeah, I wouldn't like that. That wouldn't be good. So he starts pushing his pawns. I take the bishop. He starts pushing, and now I bring my rook back, getting ready to promote. And he pushes, and now I'm like, all right, yeah. Slide my rook all the way down the board, and now I'm just going to promote, and it's GG. He starts pushing, I push. And in this position, he resigned, because he couldn't handle it, bro. This is what the fuck happens when you play a sorry-ass motherfucker. Bro, don't think, let's go back a little bit. Let's go back a little bit. You see all this pressure? Bro has all this pressure. Mate in 10, but he don't see it. He takes, I take. Look at this. He still has all this pressure. He still has all this pressure, and I'm like, bro, I don't care. I don't care. Make the queen trade, bro. That benefits me. Now I have this A pawn pushing. Only way to stop it is bring your rook. I'm bringing my rook, then I'm putting your bitch ass in jail, boy. So, man, that was a good ass game. I really had to lock in at the end, bro. But, whoo, that was a good one. So make sure y'all like and subscribe, and man, let's get it to another one.